Hi. This evening, how have courts resolved the issue of wearing a hijab, or any religious identity for that matter, in the past? We know a larger bench of the Karnataka High Court is hearing and will decide whether students should be allowed to wear the hijab inside classrooms. India's highest court included has heard similar petitions several times, and yet the matter stands unresolved, which is to say that there is no authoritative judgment. The first question that comes up in these matters related to religious freedom is that of freedom of expression. How one dresses is an expression of one's identity guaranteed under Article 19 of the Constitution, but with conditions. The government is allowed to impose reasonable restrictions in the name of law and order, which is exactly what the February 5th Karnataka order is. It banned clothes that, quote, disturb public law and order, unquote, invoking the Karnataka Education Act, which says that uniforms must be worn in schools and colleges. There are legal safeguards that allow the government to exercise this power and restrict our freedom of expression somewhat. The second and more emotive one is the freedom of religion, the right to profess, practice, and propagate it. Those in favor of wearing the hijab in classrooms say they are asserting this right under Article 25, and those wearing saffron scarves say they are doing the same. Like all fundamental rights, this one can also be restricted on the grounds of public order, health, or morality. But a 1954 Supreme Court verdict scopes this out. It says that the government does not have the right to regulate core religious practices, things essential to a religion, which gives rise to the question that is being debated now as well. Is the hijab essential to the faith? How do you decide what is essential and what is not? In 1954, the Supreme Court put in place the Essentiality doctrine to answer this question. It says that those practices which form the crux, the very basis of the religion, they are constitutionally protected under freedom of religion, which is to say that any practice without which the religion would fail or not be the same is considered essential and protected. Everything else can be restricted. The essentiality test has resulted in very different interpretations over the years. In 1986, 3 children in Kerala, expelled from school for not singing the national anthem because it was against the religious faith in Jehovah's Witnesses, won the case. The expulsion was held unconstitutional because the Supreme Court ruled that students were following an essential tenet of their faith, that the only allegiance one must have is to Jehovah. In 2016, the Supreme Court upheld the discharge of a Muslim airman from the Air Force for keeping a beard. It ruled that keeping a beard was not an essential part of Islam. In 2017, the Supreme Court followed the essentiality test to conclude that triple talaq was invalid and not an essential part of Islam, considering how a majority of Islamic countries have done away with it. Then in 2018, in the Sabarimala temple case, the Supreme Court allowed women to enter the temple, ruling that their prohibition was not essential to the faith. However, it did not allow the entry of women into all the temples in the country, which prohibited women from entering. If that sounds like a contradiction, it is. But the courts have agreed that the matters where question of religious freedoms is central, they must be decided on a case-to-case basis. There are different contexts, there are different sentimentalities and evidence involved. Which is why over 7 decades later, there is no authoritative judgment on whether the hijab can be constitutionally protected as an essential religious practice. In 2002, the Bombay High Court turned down a girl student's plea for wearing a headscarf in a private school in violation of the dress code. The court said that it was not an obligatory overt act in Islam. In 2015, 2 Muslim girls challenged the dress code for the All India pre-medical test, which prescribed wearing half-sleeve tops with trousers, ostensibly to prevent cheating. The Kerala High Court played it safe and exempted the 2 students from the dress code, provided they subjected themselves to checking by invigilators before the exam. The next year, in 2016, the matter came before the Kerala High Court again. Same dress code, same AIPMT exam. This time, the court ruled more overtly, saying that, and I quote, Covering the head and wearing a long sleeve dress by women has been treated as an essential part of Islam, unquote, and therefore such religious attire is constitutionally protected. In 2018, the same judge of the Kerala High Court interpreted the essentiality test differently when two Muslim girls wanted to attend a Christian school wearing a headscarf and full sleeve shirts against the dress code of the school. This time, the court held that since the school was exclusively run by and for a religious community, it was up to the school to decide whether to allow the girls to wear headscarves or not. I'll stop here for today. This has been a long one. I hope this video expands the binary of hijabs versus saffron shawls that this story has been reduced to. There is one caveat here as we do this video. As a feminist organization at Newsworthy, we do not believe in any religious norms or practices that play one way for women and not for men, covering up or dressing down. The matter in this case, we believe, is the right to education for young girls. Full stop. I highly recommend you see our last video on the ongoing hijab row in Karnataka. It will really give you a sense of why the protest started and escalated and who really benefits. If you're watching this on YouTube, we'll leave a link on the top right corner of the screen. And if you're watching this on IG, you can head to our stories. Also, a gentle reminder, make a monetary contribution to support the deep and hard work that goes into separating the news from the noise, especially in stories like this one. Every penny you send our way encourages us incredibly and helps us keep doing good journalism. You can contribute via Scrollstack and Razorpay. I'll link the two in the description and in our IG bio. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram. That's me for today. Thank you so much for your time.